the one person that like I would say that went over and beyond when you have very little time to give, like you're like exceptional at that. So.
Well, I appreciate that, but that's because there was a lot of people that gave a lot of time to me that should have never given time to me. I feel an overwhelming sense of gratitude about that, my wife laughs because she's just like, we had that Sea Level at Mile High event I'm part of every year, and she's like, well, why don't you become a celebrity? I'm like, because I'll take coffee with anybody. You don't have to pay to have coffee. I mean, people took coffee with me that should have never taken coffee with me, and now they're some of my dearest friends, and they help me get my company from here to there. So
I love it.
You have to be grateful. You have to remember from where you came from.
Yeah.
So
well, I love it. Well, so today we're having our episode of Regenerative Inspiration, and we're here with Steve Foster. And tell us a little bit about what's going on in your life, and maybe some things. We're going to talk about some adversity, but I want to know about your roles, because we've known each other for a bit, and you do a lot, and you've advised a lot. You've been involved in many things and had some very successful exits and things like that as well. But tell us a little bit about you and what you're doing right now.
The proverbial jack of all trades, master of none. Right?
I don't know about that. I think you've been pretty focused.
Yeah, Connect 1-3 has been a love of my life. It really speaks to who I am from a connecting standpoint. And as you know, I was a police officer prior to starting my tech career, and my badge number was 13. So it always helps me remember where I came from that perspective. And so what our company focuses on is really connecting with early stage companies and helping them get from here to there, mostly around capital, customers, and talent. From a strategic perspective. So we're working with about a half a dozen companies right now. 3 of them we're actively raising capital for, and 2 of them I'm the CEO of the organization. And so it looks like one of them I may go in and stay there permanently if we're able to raise the kind of capital we need. And so that's where we're focusing our time, helping entrepreneurs and early stage companies that get stuck or haven't quite figured out the secret sauce to get above 10 million in revenue. We're going in and really helping them get from here to there. So it's a lot of fun.
Very cool. Well, so tell me a little bit about, I know there's many different circumstances I'm aware of, but tell me a little bit about a time where you had adversity in your life, and you might have been all alone. You might have been, just maybe even something nobody even knows about you. But like, tell me about that adversity and what drove you to overcome that. And maybe we can connect with some people that are in a similar situation at this point.
Wow. I think most entrepreneurs feel all alone at many points in time in their lives. And, and I've felt very alone. As you know, and publicly, a lot of people know I was homeless at 16, living in my car, trying to figure out how not to become other members of my family who just gave up at that point. And I was determined to get through high school. When you're relying on friends to feed you, and bathrooms and gas stations to shower, and hoping that it's not too cold in the backseat of my little Regal vehicle that was so rusted out I couldn't even put something in the trunk. That was just a moment for me where I had to get through high school and go do something bigger and better. And I wanted to, I was always had this dream of saving the world, and so I wanted to become a police officer. And so I knew I had to graduate high school no matter what the circumstances were, and that the military would be there for me when I did, and it was, and I did, and I'm grateful, and I don't know where I found the grit to do that, because my little brother didn't, and he didn't survive it, and they found Jimmy dead under a bridge a little over 10 years ago now, and we used to have this conversation about growing up. And he would say to me, "You don't understand what it was like." And I'm like, "Jimmy, I was in the top bunk, right? You were in the bottom bunk and I was in the top bunk. I mean, we were in the same bunk beds, and and I always felt like, you have to use the circumstances that you're in as a reason to keep going, and look to the future from a vision perspective, because if you can see it, you can get it. You can make it happen. And Jimmy used to always use our circumstances as an excuse, for his continued behavior. And I know that it was hard because he was addicted to drugs and alcohol, but he just had a different mindset. And I, frankly, Will, I don't know where my mindset came from. I just was never going to quit. So, and it led me to where I am here today.
Yeah.
So,
what would you tell somebody that's maybe in similar situation, seeing that, like, what would you tell them today?
I would tell you, if I were you, is to seek out people that you can connect with that will keep you going. Right? You're going to meet different people along the way, and some of those folks are going to try and drag you back, and other folks are going to try and lift you up. And so the people that you put in your life are really key and important. Mm-hmm. And I think that you need to find the inner strength and muster it. And how, once you find it, how you keep it is surrounding yourself with people that will be encouraging, and that will tell you what you need to hear. Not what you want to hear, and you need to be able to listen, right? Because you never know what someone's experience was or what they went through, and if they care enough, if they love you enough to give that wisdom to you and that love to you, then you should slow down and listen. Right. Because I had a lot of people who probably should have never spoken to me, mm-hmm. That took the time, mm-hmm. and gave me some great advice. And that advice, and just seeing the path forward that some of them helped me see, was what kept me strong.
I love it. I'm reminded of a story that my dad would continually, well, it was more of an exercise that my dad would continue to do. He was a shop teacher, and he was always showing people through examples physically of how it actually affected them. And so he would put somebody up on the shop table and say, lift me up, pull me up.
Right.
And they're like, I can't do that. You're much bigger than me.
Right.
He's like, but watch this. And he would just tug on him a little bit. See how easy it is for me to pull you down?
Right.
And that's what bad company does. Bad
right.
friends do. And
right.
so what you alluded to that, I mean, there's going to be people that try to pull you back and pull you down,
right.
but you have to overcome that and find the people that are there to help you, because there are a lot of people that have great heart and they have a desire to help, and you do have to reach out. It takes some effort to do that, but yeah, I agree with you. That grit inside, sometimes you can't right. understand where that comes from, but
right.
but you have to dig right. deep and go after it.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, it's cliche, but you got to put the oxygen mask on yourself, right? Mm-hmm. And that is very true, right? You've got to think about where you're going, and who's going to help you get there. And there's a lot of people that pretend to cheer for you when they're really not helping you. You'll know the people that are helping you get there, and you should pay attention to that.
Awesome. Well, hey, thank you for coming on today, Steve Foster, and wonderful. We'll probably have a lot more episodes with you.
Absolutely.
Great. Thanks again.
Thanks, Will.